Hey guys, welcome back. I normally I'd be talking about this little forest that we have in here and go into a bit about Cole Marin's character, and I may still get into that. But I wanted to take a few minutes first to talk about something that kind of shook up my little RPG Maker community recently. Some of you guys who have been in the scene for a while, for lack of a better word, may remember the name Euphony. His name is Jordan, his real name, and he passed away probably a week ago or so. Now, he'd had health problems for a long time. Various issues came up, and but he always bounced back, and so I think we kind of thought he was invincible, but nobody is invincible, and it's, kind of a tough reminder. So, in terms of this game, he helped us a lot with the castle, the ruined castle that's coming up soon. Maybe not in this one, but definitely the one after. I think it's hard to remember the exact details because it was a long time ago now, but pretty sure he edited that tile set a good deal to to make it work the way we needed it to work. And when we get to that scene, if you don't already remember it, you'll see that visually it's pretty powerful. And another contribution was the sort of hand rank and file guys. They wear these robes in different colors. We've seen them one or two times already. We're going to see them a lot as we get closer to the end of the game. And he made those, and Anchor, edited them a little bit, but he did the basic design. So, very good pixel artist, extremely good. Some of the games that he worked on was Star Stealing Prince. He and Renove were very good friends. I think he might have done some on Homework Salesman too, but I'm not sure about that one. And then he did some stuff with Freebird Games, which did To the Moon, which most of you have probably heard of. That was a big moment for kind of indie games, just because it came out like right before the floodgates opened, so to speak, when there weren't a lot of sort of indie games. I mean, there was Braid and there was like Super Meat Boy, and but there wasn't a whole lot else. Aquaria, that was an early one, and so it really got a lot of attention and did very well in terms of sales, and he was a contributor to that project and to some other work by Freebird Games as well, Bird Story, if you know that, which I actually like better than To the Moon. It's not as kind of grandiose. Well, no, To the Moon's not really grandiose either. It's actually kind of a pretty small scale story about people, but Bird Story is only like a half hour long, and it's if I remember right, there isn't any dialogue, so the visuals had to do some heavy lifting, and Euphony was definitely up to the task. There's this one sprite animation towards the end where the kid and the bird kind of have to go their separate ways and they say goodbye. It is so powerful, like that. Sprites that don't look all that different from Laurel and Bones is unique, but like Laurel or Finley or whatever in this game. But like just the movements are so precise, and like the emotions on the faces so precise, really impressive. And there's all sorts of who knows how many other projects he contributed to. over the years. You know, obviously we all know there's a lot of unfinished work in the RPG Maker community. So it would be very hard to track exactly how many games he contributed something to. In fact, his mother was asking, you know, if she could kind of get a list, because he wasn't, you know, he wasn't a bragging type at all. You know, he just wasn't gonna go out and tell everybody like everything he was doing. So that I told her basically what I told you guys now, the games that I knew that he had contributed to, and the fact that there's probably plenty else that I'm not as aware of. Now, he didn't have a whole lot in the way of his own projects. There was Nader's Cannon is the one that some of you might remember. You'd have to have been following RPG Maker for a while, though. I mean, this was kind of long ago. It was an episodic project. It wasn't a game necessarily. It was a purely cinematic thing, and to make those work, you really have to be like on your game visually, and he was. And so he worked on that for a long time, and there were probably, I don't know exactly how many chapters, maybe like a dozen or so. And actually, me and Mark and my brother used to download them, and we sort of cast ourselves as the voices, and we would read the dialogue, and it was fun. You know, we look forward to it. And it's like we would do with this game. Like every time Mark and I play this game, I'm always reading Shroud's lines, and he's always reading Stoic's lines, and then we sort of, figure out the other characters as we go. But I think, if you haven't seen it, it might be because it's kind of hard to find now. Very hard to find now, in fact. Because his, as he got older, as he got more experience, he got better and better at the pixel art, and so I think he was almost embarrassed by his older work, and so he sort of allowed it to fall out of circulation. Which it's ironic because what he probably considered like inexperienced and not very good would still like blow most people away. But of course there was there's more to remember than just somebody's talent. He was a smart dude, very quick-wit, really funny, empathetic. Just a nice guy. It just sucks that he died at 29, and there wasn't really anything any of us could do. And it kind of underscores the I guess the ups and the downs of having an online community. Because on the one hand, if it weren't for the internet, none of us would have become friends. I mean, Mark and I know each other in real life, sure, but all these other folks that we've associated with, who've helped us with our games, who, we have the internet to thank for that. But at a time like this, it's keeping us apart. I've said to a couple people that I wish that we could just go out to dinner, 5 or 6 of us, reminisce, tell stories. I think it would help. I think it would help us all, going through this, but we can't. We're spread to the 4 winds. No pun intended. And so that's hard. I briefly entertained the idea of going to the funeral. But, I didn't want to be the only, that friend who was there. But, it was in, he lived out in greater Cleveland, which is probably, maybe a 9-hour drive from here. It was on a Monday afternoon, the funeral, so, that was just, I don't know how, I didn't know how that was going to work, so it just wasn't practical, and I think, I don't think anybody else really could make it work either. And it's, funerals are a weird thing. It's like nobody really wants to go to them, obviously. But you want to, support the family, I guess. And in my case, I would have gone to support my friends if they had gone, but since none of them were going, really wasn't much for me to do there. So we will miss him. We have a Discord channel where a lot of us hang out, and it was always good for a laugh there. So we will miss him, and so I want to just take a little bit to talk about him, and maybe I don't know, maybe somebody will dig up Nader's canon, but probably got the work cut out for them. So rest in peace, Euphony. There's really no good way to transition off of that, but I'll try anyway. We're, this little semi-dungeon here. So kind of a maze, you walk around, you can fight some tigers. And I believe there's a crafting recipe you can do. I don't know if I might have already picked up the recipe. I don't know. I'm like, I'm an autopilot here practically. But anyway, so you can grab some of these tiger hides that drop from you guys. Make yourself a nice tiger skin outfit, which is kind of brutal if you think about it. But we won. And so you just kind of, you get some treasure. You can level up a little bit if you want to, although I'm pretty high level already, so that should be necessary. And you don't always hit the, you don't always get the tigers when you walk by those bushes. Sometimes you get, a little fake out, and it's just like a bird that's been sitting in there and it flies out. So, you don't always get the fight. It's a little bit like the Solix Slab dungeon where there was the, what do you call it? The jail cells that would open up and, monsters would come out. So, every now and then we like to sort of experiment with ways to avoid the random encounters, which, even back then were kind of held in low regard by a lot of people in the community. I don't think, it's like a deal breaker the way some people do, but, it is a little archaic, so I can understand people wanting to move away from that. Certainly Legacy isn't going to have that. And so, let's see. Oh, well, I mentioned that, there were a few scenes with Cole Marin when I was talking before that I'll comment on briefly. Originally, when I came up with his character and sort of thought about his role in the story, I had expected that he would be a bit of a father figure for Saad. This doesn't really have that. I mean, certainly Stoich's old enough to be his father, but they don't have that kind of relationship. They're friends, and there's a big age difference, but they act like friends. And so, it's not really there. Maybe Tordo, if he had had more screen time, could have filled that role. But he's sort of, out of the story by arc 3 or so. So that wouldn't really work. So I thought, Cole Marin could do that, but it turns out he didn't really, there wasn't much reason for him to stay with the party once we got to this point. Because he's so, he's not really a fighter, and the hand really wants him dead. So traveling with him wouldn't really be very bright. So they sent him away to, what they presume is a safe place. And right now I'm going to try and get I think I have 1 or 2 more tiger hides to get, so I want to make sure I get that, because this is the only time in the game where you can get them. And anyway, so I like Cole Marin, but as a character, I think he's obviously important to the story, but just his sort of very knowledgeable and got that paranoid side. I think he's a decent character, but he didn't quite live up to what he might have been. But, I guess that's, when you have a cast this size, that's just a thing that happens. You can barely get everybody screen time. It's kind of like, it's almost like some of the Marvel movies now. You know what I mean? Because, their universe has gotten so big, and there's so many characters that you just can't, you just don't have time for them all. You know, I mean, they try, but it's just so many. So now we're in the we're at Overmoss, and if you were reading the dialogue before, you know, the people in Undermoss were concerned because the sort of supply caravan hadn't arrived, and you know, these two towns trade on a pretty regular basis, so it was alarming. And so, you know, Shroud and Stoic got word that the hand, well, Marin told them that Void was, you know, hanging around Undermoss, and so now they know the hand's got some interest in this area, so they decided to just see what was happening. And they keep going into these houses, and there's nobody here, and there's treasure. And so I think this was almost completely Mark's work, this sequence here. You know, I wrote a few lines of dialogue, of course, but the way this plays out was all him, and he really does a nice job building tension. Because you just keep looking at places, there's nobody there, you know something's wrong, you don't quite know what, and you know, it just builds, and there's no music really. I think it's very effective. And now we're going through the mine here, which, you know, yeah, we didn't want to make this part too long because you know, people might still have mine fatigue from Arc 2 because that dungeon's so long. But did throw a few bull rushes in. And this was also a point, I think, when we started letting people use dynamite. If they, you know, because some people really struggle with the button pushing mini games that come up. So we, you know, kind of throw, wait, what the fuck? Wasn't I just here? How did that happen? Well, that's strange. I could have sworn. I'm going to have to go back and look at that footage because I could have sworn I went to the next room. But it's all good. We're here now. Oh, this is great. Yay. Stark says, we can use the batting ram. You can actually pick that, but not really going to do it. You know, the sprite work probably would have been a little tough for a one-off gag. And, you know, I don't want Finley to have a concussion because then he's not going to shoot straight. But, again with that, what is that? Do I just... Huh. Weird. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just like the fade out after the bull rush kind of tricks me out a little bit. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just distracted because of everything that's been going on. I believe this is the last one. And then things get dark pretty quick once we go through that door. There's enough. Oh yeah, Merle. Well, I was just saying what I said, basically. Yeah, so that little effect, I don't know if you noticed that with the screen kind of getting blurry and moved over. That was a neat little spur of the moment thing that we came up with, where you take a screenshot and then you sort of put it in it as a picture, and then you move it a little bit, and you know, it creates this this effect, which, you know, sells the shock of the moment, because this isn't, you know, this is not the kind of game where you've seen like massacres, and so just to find like a whole bunch of people here is messed up, and Finley is really not used to it. Stoic has seen plenty of bloodshed. Even Sod is a little you know, immune. Not immune, but he's good at keeping his shit together. But it's, yeah, well, like Stoic says, he didn't think he would see this kind of thing after Gallia fell. This is supposed to be peacetime. And then you can get something out of this guy's backpack, which is a little bit in bad taste, but you know, he's not gonna. On the other hand, he's not gonna need it. What's that one? I wonder. I'll check later. It'll be a while before we get to an inhibitor anyway, I think. But so yeah, so something really bad went down. I think you guys know who's responsible. And then we're gonna go and see what the shit's going on. Let's see. How are we doing on time here? Okay, I think probably got enough time for the little mini boss fight here, but I don't want to go too far after that because then there's like a big. Oh, whoops! Supposed to be going south. Oops. There's a big story thing that goes on for a while, and I would hate to break it up. So Laurel just sort of runs off here. Oh, look who it is. Laurel tries to read her mind and gets blocked, which is the thing that dark mages can do. And just seeing all of them together, Rana immediately figures out who everybody is. Which means that Solik will know. Not that it matters so much, but you know, people just look at those things. So yeah, these are the zombie tigers. Yeah, so don't let anybody tell you that there's nothing left to do with the zombie genre. I have yet to see a movie or a video game with zombie tigers. Which is funny because a lot of the old zombie movies take place in like the fucking jungle, so or rainforest or something. So you'd be surprised you can see anything like that. But yeah, Anchor, you know, really kind of outdid himself for these nasty ass, you know, decaying tigers. And you can see their brains. That's kind of the typical zombie joke, but that's actually from a movie called Return of the Living Dead. It's from like the 80s. It's a very funny movie. And there's just a part where the zombie keeps saying words. And so now, like anything that like spoofs the zombie genre, somebody will say that. Let's see, we get to. Now these guys have a special attack where they'll gang up on somebody. And I think they might have used it once already. I don't know. I'm just sort of button mashing here. Yeah. It's better if they do it on Shroud because he's got the counterattack, so he'll hit back every time. But Stoic does not. But yeah, he's beefy enough. He can take it. These guys are tough. Well, I mean, just hit points. I mean. There we go. Holy stuff is good. Oh, there we go. See ya. The holy spells do good damage because they're undead. And I can't remember if we actually did this or if I just thought about doing it. But I always wanted to have like fire do a little bit more damage to undead, just because you know I figure they're dry, so they might catch on fire pretty easy. But that might screw with the. Oh, I didn't even. I forgot that I killed the with a mill. I thought that it was just like vanished. But anyway, if if the undead were weak to both holy and fire, that might kind of screw with the game balance. I don't know. So yeah, they realize that Rana is not really a mass murderer if left to her own devices. In fact, it's unlikely that. Oh, sorry about that. Are you guys hearing that? The mic's being all screwy. I guess it's always a little screwy because I just can't seem to get the, I can't seem to get the sound exactly right on these. I try, but it's always a little, I don't know, I probably just need like better equipment, but, who's got the money for that? But anyway, so they kind of realize that Rana is, unlikely to kill people, like, on her own. And, she probably, not Stoic, Solik, surely killed all his people himself, and Rana just sort of watched. And so Solik is a pretty resourceful guy, and he's already he had a plan for the bodies that has not been revealed yet, but now with Stoic around, he might not need that. He sort of adjusted his plan accordingly, and it will make sense in time. And so what I want to do is I'll walk to the end of this canyon here, and then I want to stop so that I don't start the next big flashback, because that really should be done a while ago. Where's actually this? I'm like inching forward here because I don't want to like hit the tile that starts it, because then I won't be able to save for a while. Okay, so yeah, I think okay, yeah. So we don't want to go out there. We'll stop here. All right. See you next time, guys. Peace.